We now get to another very commonly used body tag, and that is section headings. HTML provides up to 6 levels of headings to better organize your paragraphs into manageable chunks of text. Search engines will use your headings to index the structure and content of your web pages. Since users may skim your pages by its headings, it's very important to use headings to show the document structure. For example, I have an untitled HTML file here with different levels of structure here. The 6 levels heading is a heading 1. The search engines heading, indicating the next paragraph is about search engines, is heading level 2. And the third paragraph about document structure has a heading of level 3. You can see how you'll tag these headings. They're defined with the H1 to H6 tags. H1 defines the largest heading. H6 defines the smallest heading. If we go ahead and look at this file here in Notepad in our browser, this is the headings.html file in your work files folder. It looks like this. You can see each of the 6 degrees of headings, heading 1 down to 6. Now notice that browsers automatically end an empty line before and after the headings. Here is the code. Notice I'm not adding any paragraphs to this body text, just adding the headings, so the browsers are adding the extra lines of space there. So to add headings between your body tags, less than, H1 greater than, then your text in the heading, and then the closing tag, less than / H, and then a number between 1 and 6, and then a greater than sign. So again, you'll want to use headers to give your document structure, almost like an outline. Here in this HTML document, I have a variety of different sized headings. The 4.2 is heading 1. Creating your first page is heading 2. This one here I think is a heading 4, and so on. Let me now give you some tips for using headings in your HTML documents. Think of your headings as hierarchical dividers and use them consistently. You'll notice that in this page here, I don't have a lot of different size of headers. There's another one there. It's probably an H5. The only official rule about headers is that the higher the level, the smaller the number, the more prominently they should be displayed. Nevertheless, the major browsers currently display them all in pretty much the same sizes in Times New Roman, boldface at 24 point for H1, 18 for H2, 14 for H3, 12 is H4, and then 10 and 8 pixels for H5 and H6 respectively, and it's 9 pixels for H6 on the Mac. You can also use styles to format headers with a particular font size or color. You'll notice that here in this document, my H1 heading here is using a different typeface than my H3, which is down here. Also, my H2 has a different typeface than my H3 right here. You can also add a named anchor or ID to your header so that you can create links directly to that header. More about named anchors a little bit later in the course. Now, I use section headings in almost all of my web pages to not only make my text more organized and easier to read, but also to help my search engine rankings. Larger text formatted with an H1 or an H2 tag tells the search engine what is the most important content of my pages and will give me better rankings for that content included in those H1 and H2 tags. And one last tip, never use HTML headings for making your text bold. Only use headings to create heading section dividers in your pages. There are other tags that you'll use for bolding out inline text. Now, breaking up information into concise lists, as I've done here, is a good way to organize information. Lists are easy to read and save space and effort. So let's now move on to the next movie so I can introduce you to the HTML list elements, another fundamental tag you'll use in the body section of your pages.